Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome to another episode of the Room to Breathe podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so thrilled to have each and every one of you here with us today. Whether you're tuning in for a dose of inspiration or just a moment of calm, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's episode, just a quick reminder. If you are enjoying the show, don't forget to tap the screen, like, comment, and share. Your support helps us to connect with more amazing people like you. And if we're not friends already, be sure to give us a follow and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on our latest content. I also invite you to visit my website at theselfcareclub.org. We've got some awesome affirmative apparel, motivational merch, and a bunch of free resources waiting just for you. So, understand that it's all about empowering yourself and embracing your journey. No matter what you're currently going through in life or what challenges you're facing, remember that you are not alone on this path. We're in it together, supporting and uplifting each other every step of the way. It is time for us to choose to prioritize our well-being, to embrace our growth, and to find peace in the present moment. So, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together.
In the quiet moments, that's where I'll find a little room to breathe, leave it all behind. Give me room to breathe, I need some time to heal my heart, to clear my mind. Gonna love myself, yeah, I believe in the power of me. Just give me room to breathe.
Alright guys, so as I stated, our topic of discussion for today is burnout. Y'all put hashtag burnout in the chat for me. Burnout. You was born ready? Come on now, stay ready. Miss Thina, welcome in. Thank you for the follow, love. I appreciate you. Hashtag burnout. Miss Dee Dee, inspired risings to you. Welcome in. Today we are talking about burnout and how to spot it before it takes over. Alright? And so again, like I said, today I just wanted to talk about this because I know that burnout affects all of us. Okay? Like this is something that everyone experiences. Everyone goes through this in life. And, you know, it tends to creep up on us slowly. It's kind of like a storm on the horizon, and if we don't see the early signs of it, it can overwhelm us before we even know what's happening, right? But here's the good news. If we just learn how to recognize burnout early and implement some mindful self-care along the way, we can prevent ourselves from being overrun by it, right? We can prevent it from taking over. So first and foremost, let's talk about burnout and what it is, right? Burnout is more than just being tired. It is a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion. I'm going to say that again. Physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion that's caused by prolonged stress. When you're burnt out, you feel like you're running on empty. You feel like you have nothing to give. And no matter how hard you try, there's just nothing there, right? You might find yourself feeling disconnected from work. You might find yourself feeling less effective in what you do. Or you're simply just plain drained, right? So there are just those moments when, like I said, when we just kind of feel blah, like, I'm just here so I don't get fired. I don't know what I'm doing, right? You might find yourself questioning, why am I doing this? Why do I keep showing up here? What's the meaning behind things, right? You feel less effective. The things that you normally would do, now all of a sudden you just feel a little less effective. Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this even right? Right? So we know what it is. Now let's talk about how to spot it before it hits us like a ton of bricks. All right, so we're going to go over some early signs of burnout. And I want you guys to add this to the chat so that way as people are coming in, they know what we're talking about, okay? Early signs of burnout. Number 1, constant fatigue. Constant fatigue. When we talk about constant fatigue, I'm not talking about those nights of insomnia, right? I'm talking about feeling tired even after you've had a night's rest. You slept good, but you just woke up tired, right? This is one of the most early signs of burnout. It's not just about needing more sleep. It's that kind of exhaustion that no amount of sleep seems to fix. Right? Where no matter if you just slept for 12 hours, you're still tired. You're still drained. Right? That's what constant fatigue is. And that is the first step to being burnt out. Right? That's your first sign that you're burnt out. Number 2 would be lack of motivation. Lack of motivation. If you're finding it harder and harder to get excited about things that once enjoyed, if you find it harder to get excited about things that you once enjoyed, that's another red flag. Occasional motivation dips are normal, right? So, having I don't really enjoy this the way that I used to moment. Okay, that's fine. Right? But if all of a sudden you notice that it's a persistent feeling where you're just not motivated, you're just not encouraged to do something deeper might be going on and you need to tap in and see what's happening. So if all of a sudden, you notice that there's just constant for the last 2 weeks, you've just felt very unmotivated. That's a red flag. All right? Now, Wednesday, you just don't really feel like it, but Thursday, you back and you good. Following Monday, you feeling a little low. Tuesday, you back, you good. That's normal, right? Because our emotions can vary from time to time. But if you find, like I said, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks has gone by and you still lack the motivation to get things done, something's happening, okay? So understand that is a red flag. Pay attention. For some people, they have a hard time recognizing, okay, how have I been? How are my moods? So I tell people, okay, we use the emojis or the GIFs. So when I had to chart my emotions and my feelings, I used to go to my calendar on my phone and I would put how I'm feeling. Or I would paste the emoji there. So then that way I could look back at my calendar and I could see happy, 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 happy. Wait. Sad, 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 crying, sad, crying, crying, crying. So I could go back to say, okay, this is when it happened. What started happening at this point? So that way I'll know what's triggering this. What's triggering this sadness? What's triggering my depression? So for those of you who feel like you have a hard time keeping track of your feelings and your emotions, or you're not sure what things are triggering you in this time, I would say do something like use your calendar maybe in your phone, or just get you a little calendar, go to the $1.25 tree and get you a little pocket calendar where you could just put a little smiley face or sad face, or even use the word that describes your emotion, so that way you can chart how you're feeling each day, so that way you can catch when there's a problem and you know what to do. All right, so we got constant fatigue, first red flag. Lack of motivation, second red flag. Third red flag, feeling overwhelmed by small tasks. Feeling overwhelmed by small tasks. That is our third red flag, y'all. When the tiniest of tasks feel like mountains, that's another sign. If you notice that you're becoming easily frustrated or paralyzed by what used to seem like a routine responsibility, I need you to pay attention. If you notice that you're starting to snap on people about the little things, right? Somebody put the milk carton back in the fridge, and you know, you used to them putting it in there empty, but now they done put it back in there. You done poured your bowl of cereal, and then you realize you ain't got no milk. Like, why y'all ain't just throw this away? But now you done cussed everybody out. And then it's a little sign that something else going on. It ain't about the milk, sis. The milk just happened to be the vessel that you used to cuss them out, but it ain't about the milk. So you got to pay attention, because that's another red flag. That something else is going on. And you got to give yourself the opportunity to figure out, okay, what else is triggering me? What am I not speaking up on? Where do I need to set a boundary, right? When do I need to advocate for myself? I really didn't mean to cuss them out about the milk. It wasn't that big of a deal, right? So our fourth red flag ties right into this. Irritability and mood swings. Irritability and mood swings. Burnout often affects our emotional balance. Okay? And so, you know, if you find yourself feeling irritable, impatient, or even sometimes resentful towards things that usually didn't bother you, that's another sign. That's another sign that you're feeling a little burnt out. Hey, Cole Mom, welcome in, love. So again, we've got constant fatigue, lack of motivation, feeling overwhelmed by small tasks, and now the irritability and mood swings. Our fifth red flag. Number 5, cognitive issues. Cognitive issues. This is when we find ourselves struggling to concentrate. We're forgetting things easily, or making mistakes that we normally wouldn't make. Right? That's not what we do. We don't usually make this mistake. Hey, DJ. Or like I said, we just can't focus, right? Burnout affects our cognitive function, making it harder for us to focus. It makes it harder for us to make clear decisions. So that's another sign that something else is going on, that we are overwhelmed and burnt out. And then lastly, number 6. This is when you know that the poop has really hit the fan, y'all. Disconnection and detachment. Disconnection and detachment. You might feel yourself being detached from your surroundings. As if like you were going through the motions, but not really connecting with things. And this can happen at work. This can happen with your friends, your family, right? Things that you are normally passionate about. Now all of a sudden you lack the interest, right? You're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't necessarily want to be here doing this. Like there's a bunch of things I could be doing and I don't want to do this, right? So when you find yourself feeling detached or, just kind of separated, disconnected from things, there's probably something that's going on that is, it's trying to warn you. Your body's trying to warn you. Remember how we talked about anxiety and how anxiety is not a horrible thing. We just have to understand why it's here, what it's trying to show us or teach us, right? So the reason why I chose this topic and I wanted to highlight that is because I myself found that I was feeling burnt out here recently. And so I had to kind of take a bit of a detox, a bit of a step back. Like I still had a job to do as far as, recording the podcast and things like that. And so I would still show up and I would do that. But I noticed that I became very disconnected from the family, my social media friends, my social media family, things like that. And so I just really had to take a step back and a pause to say, okay, you know what? I've got to tune into me. I've got to prioritize me. And so I need a break. I need a day off. I need a month off, right? And so for other content creators, especially on the South Side, you guys understand that, we have these quotas and these tiers, and things. And so I was just like, well, I need to take a step back, but we know how the algorithm is. You stay away for too long, they forget your name, right? And so when you stay away from too long, social media be like, who? So I was like, I don't want them kind of problems, right? I worked too hard to get to where I am now, but I do need a moment to pause. I need room to breathe, right? And so I just said, you know what? Rather than chasing after what everybody else is doing in their life and running here and running there, I was like, I need to just sit down, y'all, and get some things done and make some list of things that I need to get, accomplished, that I want to get accomplished. So then that way I can kind of focus back on me. I can still show up. I can still do my job. I can still be amazing for y'all, right? But then I need to also press pause and be amazing for me, tap in with my family. A lot of things started going on with us here, and I needed to regroup because just like that, I was constantly tired. I would get my sleep at night, but I would still wake up tired. Lack of motivation, the feeling overwhelmed by small tasks. Y'all know some of the things that I have to deal with here as far as, being a wife, a mom, auntie of the year, the caretaker for my mother-in-law. There was a lot going on. And then I also got to be a life coach. I got to be a friend, and it was a lot on me, even though I had really been doing it really good all along, but all of a sudden it just got to be too much. And I started being stressed out. And so I knew that something was off and I needed to, give myself the opportunity to regroup. And so that's why I kind of took a bit of a pause. That's why y'all's podcast ain't been updated and, things like that, because I had to take a pause and I had to prioritize my peace of mind first. And by doing that, now I feel more refreshed. Hey, Mr. Awesome. Lizzie, Pimp, welcome in. I feel better about it because now I can recognize, it wasn't me tripping. There's nothing major going on. It was just a lot of little things, if that makes sense. And so that was me being able to tune in early to the burnout that I was experiencing and giving myself that space, or as we always say, that room to breathe. Trey's mom says that's where I was when I found the self-care club. Yeah. And that's why I said, burnout is something that we all experience, whether it's at work, in a relationship, with our kids, and, our household, whatever. We've all experienced burnout before. We just don't want to let it take over, right? Because we deserve more in life. So we don't want to allow it to take over. So now that you guys know, 6 of the early signs to burnout, let's talk about how do we prevent it, right? How do we prevent burnout? How do we stop these things from taking over and controlling or ruling us, right? Big Joe, Grand Risings. So first and foremost, you guys, it all starts with mindful self-care. Mindful self-care. Because you can't pour from an empty cup. You cannot. It is impossible. It will not work. I don't care what kind of magician you think you are. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And so here are a few tips to help you fill your cup before burnout takes over. Okay? Number 1, my favorite. Set boundaries. I need you guys to create boundaries. Saying no is one of the most powerful forms of self-care. Putting boundaries in place allows you to protect your energy. So I encourage you to set clear boundaries with work, with your personal life, with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers. You have to know your limits and honor them. Right? So we can't run around saying yes to everything and saying yes to everyone, all the while saying no to ourselves, not respecting ourselves. So understand that, setting boundaries and saying no, it's not selfish. It's essential. It is something that we must do for self-preservation. So again, create boundaries. Learn to say no. Understanding that saying no to them means you're saying yes to you. You are prioritizing your peace of mind. And you deserve that. Number 2, schedule downtime. You know how we go to work and, from 8 to 5 we're at work, and at 10 we get a break, and at 12 we have lunch, and at 2 we get a break, and at 5 we go home. Right? Things are scheduled in. Depending upon where you work, you might have a work schedule where you have meetings at this time, or you've got to get this done by this time, right? With the kids, you got them, you get out of school, you come home, you do your homework, you do your chores, you're going to eat dinner, you're going to take a shower, you're going to bathe, whatever, and then you're going to go to bed. And you're going to get up tomorrow, you're going to do it again, right? So we all have schedules in place. Well, on this schedule that you have for your life, I need for you to schedule downtime. Schedule downtime. Rest and relaxation, that's not a luxury. Those are necessities. So we've got to begin to make, these downtimes a non-negotiable part of our routine. Whether it means you are scheduling 5 minutes to meditate, or to go take an evening walk, or a weekend of complete disconnection. You have an offline state of mind, right? Whatever it is, every single day you need to give yourself the opportunity to recharge. Y'all plug your cell phones in every day and allow them the opportunity to recharge. Hey Jess, Cuzzo, welcome in. So again, just like you schedule your lunch break, you schedule vacation time, you schedule all these things, you have to begin to schedule downtime into your day. Giving yourself time and permission to recharge. Number 3 is practice mindfulness. Y'all, everything we do, we must be mindful of how we do it. We must be mindful of what we're doing, right? There must be some sort of reason, some sort of purpose for us to do things. So it means that we need to slow down and we need to tune in. Practicing mindfulness allows us to become more aware of our stress levels. It allows us to discover our emotional state. How are we feeling? What's going on? Is this what I really want? Is this what I really like? And it could be just something as simple as taking a few deep breaths when you're feeling overwhelmed. Hey, hubby. Again, it might be just as simple as you just taking a few deep breaths to check in with yourself. That way, when you realize I'm overwhelmed and I'm really about to cuss somebody out, let me breathe. Tell them, babe, breathe. Focus on your breath, right? Or your mindful moment might be just spending a moment to check in with yourself during a busy day, right? My husband will tell you we have something within our household, and I've encouraged you guys before, but it's something that works for us. And when we feel overwhelmed, we'll say, I'm okay, you're okay, we're okay. So that's our reminder to one another. If I'm all worked up and I'm stressed out and I'm overwhelmed, thank you, and I'm, stressed out and overwhelmed, my husband will say, babe, I'm okay, you're okay, we're okay. And that's my reminder to bring it back. Be mindful of what we've got going on right here in this moment. And that phrase alone has helped us. Thank you. That phrase alone has helped us through some stressful situations. You know, when this first came up for us, babe, I think it was when you were in the hospital, right? Yeah, I think he was in the hospital, y'all, and he was stressed. You know what I mean? And obviously, if you're in the hospital, you stressed. You stressed the hell out. And he was dealing with blood clots, and I think this was the second time we were dealing with them. And you know, that is a scary thing. That is a stressful thing to have to go through. And you know, when you're unexpectedly admitted in the hospital, that's a scary thing when you don't necessarily know what's going on. And they tell you things, and the things that they tell you happens to be the scary things, the triggering things where you're like, am I dying? What's happening here? You know? And so I had to keep reminding him, hey, bring it back. I'm okay. Because he was so worried about me and, you know, our family. And I was like, hey, I'm okay. Thank you. You're okay. And, you know, we're okay. It's going to be okay, you know? So sometimes I tell people like, hey, just adopt that phrase. And understand that, you know, it's going to be all right. And it may seem like a tough time. It may be a stressful moment. But just remind yourself, hey, you know what? I might only be moving at 90%, but I'm okay. Right? My family, these kids might be getting on my nerves, but they okay, right? So we're okay. Could things be better? Absolutely. Things could always be better, guys. Could things be worse? Absolutely. Because things could always be worse. So again, that's what that practicing mindfulness is. Stopping and realizing, yeah, things are bad, but they could be worse. And tough times don't last forever. So let me just tune in. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit stressed out. I'm feeling a little bit sad. What can I do right now? What can I do right now to be okay right now? Number 4, get moving. Physical activity is a great way to release stress. I think one of my husband's favorite forms of self-care is going to the gym, right? It's a place of peace for him. And I'm like, it is loud as shit here. Like, why? But hey, that's your thing, right? So understand that physical activity is a great way to release stress. And you don't necessarily have to hit the gym every day, but consider moving your body in some type of way. Whether you're doing yoga, whether you are dancing, or just taking a brief walk outside. That can do wonders for your mood and for your energy levels. Especially when, you know, you've got so much going on, right? Especially because we are entering sad season, right? This is the time of year when our seasonal depression creeps up on us. We don't even really understand it, but all of a sudden, you know, the weather's changing. It's getting colder outside. It's getting darker earlier. We don't have as much daytime as we are used to, right? So all of a sudden, thank you. All of a sudden, you know, things just seem darker. So we've got to begin to do things that boost our dopamine and our serotonin, right? Make us happier. So get moving. Figure out things that you can do. You know, I've told you guys, I bought a vibration plate. So even though, you know, I might be having back pain from sciatica or my knee may be aching, guess what? I can stand, right? I can sit and use the vibration plate. So it's those things where we just have to remind ourselves, hey, I may not be able to go out and do what I used to do, or I may have limitations physically or financially that are preventing me from doing things in the way that I used to, but that doesn't mean I can't do something, right? So just be more mindful of your movement. Okay, you up, you cleaning the house, turn some music on and dance through it. Do a little extra, right? Just get moving. Next, prioritize your sleep. Prioritize your sleep. A well-rested mind is more resilient. So prioritize good sleep hygiene by creating a calming nighttime routine. Turn off the screens maybe an hour before bed. Perhaps read a book or listen to a book. For those of you who like tea, sip some herbal tea. Thanks, babe. All of these things will help you to relax, will help you to disconnect. And your mind and body need rest to function properly. Welcome in, Kenyatta. Your mind and body need rest to function properly. Welcome in, Peach. Number 6, seek support. If you guys remember nothing else from today, remember that you are not alone. You're not going through this alone. You don't have to do it alone. Have an amazing day, Shan. You don't have to do it alone. So it's important to have someone to talk to, right? Talk to people that you can trust, where you can show up and really explain to them, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm going through. These are the things that are, happening in my life right now. And where you can do so in a way that doesn't leave you feeling judged. And this could be a friend, a family member, a coach, a therapist. You just want to make sure that you are getting it out in the open, that you're not keeping it bottled up. Sometimes vocalizing what's going on can provide you with such a huge relief. Have you ever noticed that sometimes just saying it out loud helps the situation? Like, as odd as that sounds, but sometimes I just need to say it. I need to just get it out of my head. Sometimes it helps when you just put it out on paper. So for those of you who like journaling, you'll notice that sometimes you feel the burden has been lifted just from you writing it on paper. But getting it out provides us such a huge relief. Number 7, and our last tip, is to check in with yourselves regularly. Hey, Pamela, Sabina, welcome in. Check in with yourselves regularly. I want you guys to make self-reflection a regular routine in your day. And when we talk about self-reflection, I want you to ask yourself questions like, how am I really doing? Like, how do I really feel today? And I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to be honest with how you're feeling mentally, emotionally, physically. Spotting burnout early comes from being in tune with yourself. So what I was experiencing the last month, I was able to recognize that very early on. I didn't allow burnout to take over. I was able to shift and accommodate and make the necessary changes to my daily routine to avoid being burnt out. And again, guys, burnout doesn't happen overnight. You don't just wake up and all of a sudden you're burnt out. No, it doesn't happen overnight, and thankfully so. So it gives us the opportunity to fix things, to shift things. And preventing burnout doesn't require that you have to make some complete life change. Okay? It's about small, consistent actions. We know consistency is key, right? So just small, consistent actions. Being mindful, setting boundaries, and taking care of ourselves before the stress builds up to a point that we are just exhausted. Remember that you are your greatest priority. And so if you're spotting the signs of burnout early and you're taking action, it allows you to then prevent it from taking over and reclaiming your peace, your energy, and your joy. Because we've worked too hard to get to where we are today to allow this burnout to take over. Right? We've made it too far in life. So again, remember that you are your greatest priority. So your peace matters. Your energy is sacred. And you deserve all the joy. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to each and every one of you for joining us today. If you enjoyed our time together, be sure to give me a follow, subscribe to the channel, so that way you never miss out on our latest content. And don't forget to visit our website at theselfcareclub.org. There you can book a personalized one-on-one coaching session. You can also check out our affirmative apparel and other motivational merch, as well as a treasure trove of free resources designed just for you. So whether you are looking to elevate your self-care game or you just want to find some extra inspiration to get you through the day, know that we've got you covered. I thank each and every one of you for being a part of our Self-Care Club community. I'm excited to connect with you again soon. But until next time, I encourage you to keep breathing, stay positive, and remember that you will always be supported here at the Self-Care Club. Don't be afraid to take up space and make a little room for you to breathe. I pray that each and every one of you have an amazing day on purpose, filled with purpose, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Thank you.